Hello, everyone. The Talmud teaches us that the reason that the first base of Mikdash was destroyed is because Bnei Israel violated three cardinal sins: avodah zarah, gilui arayos, moral activity, and shfichus damim, and murder. However, that only accounts for the destruction of the base of Mikdash. What about the exile from the land? So the reason for that is suggested in this week's parsha, in the curses that are threatened against Bnei Israel. The pasuk tells us that as tirtza aris shaptuseha kol yemei hashama vatem beretz oivechem. At that time, the land will be appeased for all of the shmitos that weren't observed, and you'll be spending that time instead of in Eretz Yisrael in the land of your enemies. And the next pasuk actually continues on and says, "Kol yemei hashama tishpos, es asher lo shafsa b'shapsosechem b'shiftechem aleha." That you will rest in those all of those years of the desolation. It will rest because you did not allow it to rest during the time when you dwelled there. The implication of this pasuk is that the reason for the first galus, at least, the reason for the first exile, is because Bnei Israel didn't observe the Shemitah. Why of all mitzvahs would that have caused Bnei Israel to experience an exile? Well, it would continue on and point to this Rashi and suggest something even more extreme. That Shivim Shana Shel Galus, Rashi teaches us, for the 70 years of the exile in Bavel, they are connected the Shivim Shanos Hashmita, the 70 years of Shemitah, Shechisu Yisrael Ba'artzachem Lifnei Amakum, that Bnei Yisrael angered Hashem while they were in their land. If one does the math of 70 Shmitas that weren't observed, it sounds like Bnei Yisrael didn't observe Shemitah the entire period of the first Beis HaMikdash. Is that possible? Is that really what it means? So Rav Yaakov Kamenetsky adds one more question. He says, the beginning of the section of the curses, that we are threatened, v'im lo tishmeu li, if you will not listen to me, v'lo tasu is called mitzvos ha'ela, and don't do this land, and don't do these mitzvos, so then you will get these curses. So Rashi says, what does it mean to not listen to Hashem? Lios amelim b'Torah, to work hard in Torah. Well, that's different than not observing the Shemitah. Except Rav Yaakov Kamenetsky suggests perhaps it's not. What does it mean to observe and not observe the Shemitah? So Shemitah, the sabbatical year, includes prohibitions in working the land. It includes a requirement to allow others to come onto your land and eat whatever food is there. The end of Shemitah has the requirement of Shemitah's Ksafim, of annulling loans that are out. So were those not observed for the entire period of the first Beis HaMikdash? That's a little hard to imagine. They probably did do all of those mitzvahs, and perhaps they did it well. What does it mean that Bnei Yisrael did not observe Shemitah during the entire period of the first Beis HaMikdash? Suggests Rav Yaakov Kamenetsky back from the beginning of the first Rashi in this section. Lo hayu amelim the Torah. They did not spend the time working in Torah. Bnei Yisrael is given 1 year off out of 7, and they're told, don't do any work during this year, and Hashem is going to take care of you. So what did they do during that time? Did they just go on vacation or spend the time doing nothing, or do they say, this is the time that I'm going to reinvigorate myself and reconnect myself to the learning of Torah and to connections to Hashem? We often think when times are very busy and work is building up, we say, if only I had more time, so I would do X, Y, and Z towards Hashem. I would learn Torah more, I would spend more time davening, I would do more things, I would do more chesed. Well, now perhaps some of us have that opportunity. We have a little bit more free time. So are we able to say that we've committed ourselves to spend that time very well, to accomplish things that perhaps the rest of the year we say, oh, I don't have time to be able to do? One example, perhaps a person says, I don't, shul goes a little bit too fast for me. Tefillah is a little bit goes too briskly for me. If I had time, I would daven a little bit slower. Well, now you have more time. So as you're davening a little bit slower, are you able to concentrate more on the words and build yourself up in that way? And then when the time comes to be back in shul, perhaps you'll be able to use that experience to enhance your tefillah when one is in shul as well. During this period, we might be, and when we're out of shul, we might have the opposite thoughts as well. If only shul was open, so I'd be able to do X, Y, and Z. I'd go to more shirim. I'd be able to concentrate more on davening when I'm with the tzibur, when I'm with the congregation. So we should have that in mind and perhaps make specific commitments. When shul opens up, this is something that I'm going to do more of. this is something that I'm going to do better. And perhaps if we can grow during this time and say tell Hashem, open up the shuls. We're ready to go back, and we're ready to improve on the way things were. This won't just be a period of time away from each other, but it'll be a period of growth, and that we'll be able to continue that growth for many years to come. Once again, when we are back together, I wish everybody a wonderful Shabbos, and I hope to see everyone real soon.